Welcome back from that very short break to the last segment of the program. We did promise you that we have other guests coming. Thankfully, we've been able to have them now in the studio, and I want you to join me in welcoming Dr. Stacy Nwodo. She is a forensic expert, and she, of course, came with another doctor. And let's have your name, sir.
I'm Dr. Kofi Achampong.
Dr. Kofi Achampong, yes. Of course, without asking, that's from our neighbors.
Exactly.
Our very, very stubborn neighbors, I must put. We're stubborn. They've been dragging everything with us. Everything. They've been dragging everything with us. Well, it's good to have you join us this morning on our Soul Morning.
Thank you.
First of all, when we hear forensics, a lot of people, it sounds like nuclear physics. It sounds like something that is up there in the sky. We don't know the nitty-gritties of what actually happens when, forensic experts do their thing. So thankfully we have you here today. Let's start with you, Dr. Nwodo. Take us through, elementarily, what do we mean by forensic, and what are some of the things that we can apply this knowledge to?
Okay, thank you very much. Just like you said, many people do also have that feeling when you talk about forensics. They think it's rocket science. They think it's something that is way out of this world. But it's simply put it that forensic is to the courts. Okay? Forensic seeks to address that justice be given to whom justice is denied. Okay? And then making sure that innocent ones do not pay for crimes not committed by them. You would agree with me that there are so many people who are languishing in jail for crime not committed. Some decide to take the fall for their bosses, of course, you know. And so with forensics, you can address a whole lot of issues, not just in the public domain, but even in your homes. Okay? So having that investigative instincts and then applying, and again, I must tell you that forensic is something that we say to be procedural. Okay. It uses technological method.
Of course, it has to.
Coming out with its evidence, at least it's evidence-based. And when we come out with evidence in forensics, you can be rest assured that it can't be faulted anywhere because of the procedural nature of forensics. And because if you are to conduct that same investigation, and I do the same thing, and he's doing the same thing, you are sure to come out with the same results. And that's why you can't fault it. And that's why the judge also relies on the report of the expert to give his judgment to the court of law.
All right. Of course, from what she has said, this seems to be a very valuable tool, particularly within the education system. But I want to ask you, across Africa, particularly with the West African sub-region, how can you rate the acceptability and applicability of forensics, especially in our judicial system?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your dear listeners and all the people who are watching us, both in Nigeria and across the world. I must say that when we talk about forensics, as my colleague said, it's something that is evidential and it's empirical. And for that matter, when you look at the space of Africa, it's something that has not been truly accepted. When I say accepted, it has not been integrated. Because when you look at every crime, normally, most of the time, you see people coming to give expert witness or testimonies in terms of confessions, people who saw what happened. However, sometimes the human memory is short, and it cannot remember everything. So you need forensics to reinvent whatever happened, which we call reconstruction of the scene of crime, so as to bring back what actually happened. And because it's scientific, it makes it very factual and for you to know what actually happened. But it is sad to say that our judicial system and our criminal justice system in Africa is yet to embrace forensic fully.
But why do you think that is?
It is because, there are so many things that goes into forensics. First of all, looking at capacity development. We lack the capacity. That is why my colleague and myself and another author from Cameroon is actually not only here from Nigeria. I'm from Ghana. There's another author from Cameroon, and we have other people, experts from all over Africa, who have contributed to the books that were launched. That was yesterday. And if you look at this book, it sought to build capacity in disaster management, and it was authored by 3 different people from 3 different African countries. There's also another book on also Follow the Money, which also helps with forensic accounting and auditing, which was also authored and contributed by a lot of experts in the African space. So, you know, our first president in Ghana said something that if we actually want to find a solution in Africa, we have to do it the African way.
You're talking about Kwame Nkrumah?
Kwame Nkrumah, exactly. And he was a Pan-Africanist, and it helps to build the capacity of Africans to make sure that when we say forensics, it's not what we watch in movies from the Western world, but it's more practical, so that we can work. When you talk
about forensics, for us, mostly what we can remember is what we see in especially Hollywood movies. In fact, forensics has not even actually been integrated that much into the African, movie scene, so to speak. You don't get to see all of those applications, and some of these things serve to propagate the value of what you do. But because of the shortage of time that we have, this is a book, Disaster Forensics: Unraveling the Impact Future, that they need most of what you have to offer.
Okay, in that realm, and we decided, okay, I had to put my team together and say, okay, why don't we go the practical way? So for every participant, every student we teach, we'll put them hands on, okay, on whatever we have told them. In fact, it's always a very interesting session, because we navigate from both crime scene investigations to document examinations to fingerprints to forensic psychology to forensic engineering. The disaster forensics, we also do autopsy to determine cause of death, practical lift pictures from anywhere, but our pictures to show that whatever we have put here is that we are masters in the game, in our game.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your submission. And finally, before we go, Dr. Achempong, what future do you foresee for forensics going forward in Africa, particularly?
Thank you very much. I think forensics in Africa in the future is something that we will be seeing it in a different way, especially in the African continent. And I'm very happy that everything is starting from Nigeria, although South Africa is a bit advanced. But I think with the West African states now, I think Nigeria is spearheading everything. And I think it's high time that some of these collaborations that are being done has to kickstart as fast as possible, because other than that, you rightly mentioned from the beginning that Ghana is your rival. By the time you realize, we will be coming to teach you. However, I have come here and I am learning, and I'm also impacting my knowledge here, because we believe in Nigeria as well, because Nigeria is the biggest economy, you know, and we believe that if Nigeria works, Africa will work. Yeah. So that's how come we always want to do the partnership. And we know that if Nigeria uphold this practical book, which is an experience, I think it will be the light and the flame for forensics in Africa.
And I have to sincerely thank you both, and also use this opportunity to say we are extending another invitation to you guys to come back for us to have a much more relaxed atmosphere, because this seems rushed because of the shortage of time. Because for something as important as this, I would definitely want to have more time to talk about it, particularly if by the grace of God I've been able to go through some of these books, so that we can be able to have deeper conversation around this. Because for any society to advance, I don't think it's about fear of God. It's about fear of the consequences of our actions. So when people know that there is nothing you can do that you won't be caught, I
think it sends a lot more signal, and people tend to do the right thing under such circumstances, other than when we rely more on other old methods. So, Dr. Stacy, Dr. Modo, I have to say thank you for coming.
It is good to you.
I am very, very grateful.
Yes.
Of course, I'm very, very grateful. Very, very grateful. Dr. Achempong, I want to sincerely thank you also for coming, and definitely we will be extending another invitation to you very, very soon, so that you can come back if you are still available.
Going back tomorrow.
You're going back to Ghana tomorrow. No, we are a station that can reach you anywhere.
Exactly.
So definitely
Exactly.
expecting us.
Sure.
And it's on this note that we have to draw the curtains on today's edition of Our Soul Morning. We sincerely apologize for having to extend the time a little bit behind schedule. Beyond schedule this time around. My name is Usman Katun Umar. Hoping that you have a very splendid day. Remember to continue to watch ASO TV, because by 1 p.m. today, Minister of the FCT, Barrister Ezemonye Somike, will be flagging off the Outer Southern Express Road that has been constructed as part of activities lined up to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Thank you very much for watching.